And we're live.
All right. Welcome, everybody on X and YouTube who's joining us today for a very special stream. This is a very exciting day because we are ready to announce that arUSD, the Aladdin A team, is here to announce that we've got the arUSD, the auto compounding restaking USD produced by Protocol FX, is now live on Spectra. And this is the first integration for this product. And what a cool one it is. And we're very excited today to have joining with us Gaspard from Spectra. Welcome, Gaspard. How are you, sir?
Hey, doing great. How about you? Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're absolutely delighted. I'm joined today with my fellow A team members. I got Cyril. How's it going, Cyril?
Hey, I'm good. Good, and you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing okay. Life is good, man. I'm excited to jump into this pool and learn more about it. I got Crypto Vester. How are you, sir?
Good, sir. How you doing, sir? Thanks for having me on here.
Well, of course. I mean, with CVX being up 120%, I assume you've got plenty of energy and ready to talk about all sorts of things.
It's been a good week. It's been a good week.
and a decent mood to be talking.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. Super excited about this launch. It's going to be really, really fun.
And then, of course, as always, our favorite advisor, DeFi advisor. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for the kind words, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and jump into it. Cyril, I am going to hand you the keys to the car, and you do the driving, sir.
Yeah, but again, I loved your energy. You're the best at introducing spaces.
Amos has that like radio voice, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very kind of you. Very kind of you.
Maybe we should start with introducing yourself, Gaspar. Who are you? Where are you coming from? How did you arrive at launching Spectra? Please go for it.
All right. Who am I? So I'm Gaspar. I'm French. One more French person working in DeFi. I have a computer science background. We've been working on Spectra, previously called AP1, for more than 3 years now. We started late 2020. Wow. And that's I guess that's like our big adventure. So AP1 was the first protocol to introduce yield tokenization that you're familiar with, I guess, today. And it was a permissioned model. So we had to do manual work to integrate each new project. We had it live on mainnet until last year. It was a pool with expiry. We did not renew any new pools as we were fully focused on the V2. And that V2, called Spectra, is live since 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks today, I think. So yeah, that's nice. So we have, I think, more than 18 million TVL, and lots of features are being pushed every day on the UI, new pools, including arUSD. And that's about it, the short story.
Awesome. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but you basically just said that you invented yield tokenization, right?
Yeah. So when we started just after DeFi Summer in 2020 with the first beta of AP1 back then, and that was the very first implementation of this. Yeah. To be completely honest, we didn't even knew about traditional yield stripping that is done in traditional finance, but it's a very similar mechanism in DeFi as well. So really the concept is to split the yield from the principal of an interest-bearing token, a yield-bearing position, for a fixed duration. And previously it was fully permissioned, and now it's fully permissionless. So we define ourselves as like the Uniswap of yield trading, really.
That's awesome, and I guess we'll dive a little deeper into that in the coming minutes. Do you guys already have a couple of questions to ask to Gaspar?
Well, I'd like to know. So I always like to ask this of our French members from DeFi that join in. What is it about France that motivates folks to join DeFi? There's such a large French DeFi community. I'm curious, Gaspard, to get your thoughts on it. Like why are the French attracted to DeFi so much?
Because they hate the
very
bank.
good question. Because they what?
Because they hate the banks.
But I'm actually based in Switzerland now, but
Oh,
I
the
guess,
banks are good, right?
yeah, that's even better there. But no, I think more generally speaking, we had a good crypto community. We had ECC in Paris since 6 editions, something like that. So I guess that helps. Having lots of members in the early days of crypto and DeFi, and that creates some inertia. Lots of French team. And I couldn't say, of course, that French have always been good at math and economics and that kind of stuff. But yeah, pragmatically, I think it's ECC and just being lucky to have a great community, and then that expand and that evolved on that, I guess.
Yeah,
Interesting.
there's definitely a big DeFi community in France for sure.
And builders, really. I mean, just tremendous build. Like everything they do is very much that I've seen so far has been very rooted in sort of very principled DeFi protocols in terms of decentralization, permissionlessness. It's been really cool to see sort of the French DeFi community produce the things that they have and to continue to do so. So very excited to have you on here. I'm also.
They call it future of France for a reason, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know how to take the future of France term. Is it really positive or not?
Is it good or bad?
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I don't want to know why it's fun.
So Gaspard, can you talk about sort of? You said you didn't know about sort of traditional TradFi sort of yield splitting. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys sort of like came to the concept for Spectra? Like, was it sort of like a eureka moment? Was it like sort of a very slow evolution? Like, what was sort of the motivations behind it?
It's actually a very much of a pragmatical thinking. We wanted to create a tool, a protocol to be able to speculate on interest rate variation, because back at the time, we had after DeFi summer, we had the yield with like 4 digits, something like this. It was kind of obvious that things would have to go down eventually, and if they were to go down, and eventually they would go up, and there was just no tool to speculate on this, and you would just be jumping from one protocol to another as an LP, trying to avoid the rug pulls and just collecting the yield as it is shown on the website. And the only way we found at the moment, like back then, to really do that is, okay, we have to encapsulate it so that we can trade it, and if the yield between now and an expiry, if you have a token that represents the yield between now and an expiry, you can trade it, and then you can speculate on the implied APR, because you speculate on the value of this token. That was the yield token. And so because you have the yield on one side, well, you actually have the principal on the other. So that was a very pragmatical reasoning. And actually, initially, the token had different names and all. But I guess that's the first concept. Of course, you can do many other things. Like you can do it in many other ways. You have different other types of instruments. Few of which we would like eventually to deploy at some point, but I think building a product in DeFi, you need to build something that can be usable now, and also that address the DeFi market as it is now. And I think that's why yield tokenization is very popular and working very well at the moment. Pendle, that launched their first version a bit after us. They had an amazing success on the V2, and they did an amazing job educating people about this. It also helps in terms of integration, all those things. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the path of the product. Yield tokenization was not so sexy until it was able to integrate other types of yield, and the yield as we find them in DeFi, meaning it can be liquidity mining reward, it can be points and that kind of stuff as well. But essentially, we have to think that it's also an instrument that exists in traditional finance today, and so that it is suited for finance as it will become later.
I actually have a question. So obviously you're in the token yield splitting space. Obviously the gorilla in that space right now is Pendle. I mean, I'm just curious, like, how do you guys differentiate yourselves from Pendle? What are the differences? What's your perspective?
Yeah. A few things. The first one, the first that we will word is we're actually fully permissionless, meaning that actually, we're here to talk about the arUSD pool. This pool was deployed without any approval from the team, without really anything from our side. Meaning that as soon as you have a 4626, you can do that very easily.
Wow.
The second thing is the way you tokenize the asset is a bit different in the sense, like, but purely on the technical level. We will work with assets that have, for example, negative interest rates. We are discussing with a few teams that are going to deploy some actually pretty soon. So just integrating a broader class of assets. And so permissionless
I
this.
guess the permissionless thing is obviously one of the biggest points, right? Because that's huge.
It's really part of a vision to be able to be a low-level primitive that can be used as a layer in DeFi. So the first thing is that's why we compare ourselves to Uniswap of yield. You can go on Uniswap, create a pool. You don't need to talk to the Uniswap team to do that. We also want to be AMM agnostic, meaning that currently we are leveraging Curve, at least on the mainnet version. We're going to integrate also AMM down the road, basically trying to bring more, like really focusing on the tokenization primitive and allowing a product to be more customized with other AMMs as well. And then eventually, but that's not something that is live at the moment, so unfair comparison, but we're building for quite some time already a liquidity module that will handle all the rollovers and basically the pain points that were linked to pools with expiry. So that was something that we really wanted to include in the V2 as well, because one of the main points in causing liquidity fragmentation and yield tokenization product. I guess that's the main product difference. And
very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. I mean, obviously the decentralization, that's a big deal. Currently now with Pendle, you have to be whitelisted and you do need to go through the team. It's obviously a pain point or a friction point.
And I guess that's probably a good time to maybe also explain what arUSD is and how people can harness it on Spectra. Because today we're experimenting a Restream, and so probably some of your community are watching us today and they may not know FX and arUSD yet. I'll try to summarize it very quickly because, but obviously you guys may need to DR. But basically, arUSD is a yield-bearing token. It's a yield-bearing stablecoin based on arUSD, and arUSD is a stablecoin by FX protocol. This stablecoin is backed by EtherFi ETH, and the particularity of all FX stablecoins is that they are not only perfectly decentralized, but they're also very scalable and liquid. They are liquid by design because they're as liquid as their collateral, and they're actually perfectly stable. For a decentralized stablecoin, it's worth saying because it's not always the case, because they can be minted and redeemed at Oracle price at all time, and you can stake them to earn the underlying the collateral yield and points. And that's the whole purpose of arUSD, because arUSD is a tokenized version of this strategy. So it's basically a yield-bearing stablecoin, earning not only yield but also points. So that means you at the moment you get something like 17% APR plus up to 6x EtherFi points and 2x Eigen points, and we also added 3x FX points as well. So just by holding arUSD. So you get have I said everything, or did
I think so. The only thing I'll add to that is, I think it's really important to note that it's a two token design. arUSD is split into the stable portion and then also the leveraged portion. And so people can take on leverage by holding the XEETH token, and those users give up the yield, give up the staking yield, give up the points, and those points end up in the back into the stability pool for arUSD. And then the iteration on that is the auto compounding nature of that. So we take the underlying ETH that's being that's the reward and the FXN emissions, and then of course all of the points, and are basically delivered to are basically auto compounded into more arUSD. So, or arUSD, to not confuse anyone. So it's an auto compounding vault, tokenized vault. And then obviously being able to add that to Spectra, I think is where it kind of gets interesting, right? Because then you can split the 20% plus yield from the stable, dollar peg portion, and then trade those as tokenized pairs, right?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting, Gaspar, if you could just explain us what people can do, starting with arUSD. So that's this yield-bearing token, and so and going into Spectra. I'll share this very nice QR code. I'm very proud of it. So if you guys want to mint arUSD, you can just use that QR code. And DeFi Advisor, you'll be happy because I added the A-Team ref code to the QR code. So by using this ref code, you are kind of helping the for the job we're doing.
Nice.
And you're earning FX points directly by using this ref link. And once you've minted arUSD, you can go straight to Spectra.
Oh yes.
Nice.
Okay, back to the question.
Yeah.
Great job, Cyril, by the way. I really think it is important, actually, that we not only share the call to action itself and make ourselves as useful as possible, and for sure we should use, like, if we already have incorporated a system with such a ref link, that's for sure something we are better off using. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. So yeah. What can users do? Sorry, yeah.
No. Go ahead, Chris.
So I was saying, what can users do with their arUSD going on Spectra?
I mean, essentially what Spectra allows you to do is 3 different actions. You can secure a fixed rate, you can speculate on the variation of the yield, or you can LP to Spectra as well. Of course, Spectra needs liquidity provider to be able to do the first 2 functionalities, so that's an option. And by providing liquidity to Spectra with your arUSD, 100% of the liquidity in this Spectra pool will be arUSD. It will be this tokenized in different forms. So you'll have a PTs and YT, for example, but you're not losing in terms of capital efficiency, in terms of exposure to the underlying interest-bearing token. So that's the first point. Then if you want to do more than providing liquidity, those 2 first options. So currently, if I go at the same time on the Spectra website, I see that there is... yeah, sure, I can do that. Let me try that. All right, I guess. All right. You see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. All right. Yeah. So this is connected to a test account. We see the pool here. So it was just created with more liquidity, which will be tradable in heavier proportion. And we see here the fixed. Actually, maybe I can. Yeah. The fixed APY. And what is this? So basically, when you, as I mentioned, we take the interest-bearing token and we split it into 1 part will be the yield, 1 part will be the underlying that you will be able to claim at the end. What does it mean? This part, the underlying that you will be able to claim at the end, is the principal token. So if you see here, you have the principal token maturity value and the principal token market price. So if you compare the 2, you see that basically there is a discount. The market price is selling a principal token for arUSD. I mean, a principal token for arUSD that is at an inferior price that basically the underlying value that you'll be able to redeem at maturity. And so this difference adjusted with the time, because it's during a period with a fixed duration. This discount adjusted with the time gives you basically this fixed APY. So that's the fixed rate. You click on it, it's very easy to get. So you see for one arUSD, you get 1.12 PT arUSD. That will enable you to redeem in each of those basically 1 arUSD at maturity. So that's why we show the fixed maturity profit. That's a very simple approach, and for this you don't even need to think about points or anything else, or like what will the yield be, because as you already bought this asset, you will be able to redeem this at maturity. That's the very first. It acts like a zero coupon bond in traditional finance. Now we can move.
Can you repeat the name?
A zero coupon bond.
Okay.
And so like you buy an underlying at a principal at a discount. So that's the first functionality. Very simple in terms of usage, and you just you get that fixed rate, and that's it. You have a predictability over your returns as well, so that can be very much interesting for maybe treasury management and that kind of stuff.
So if I'm correct, that's a good way to hedge on the, like, to make sure if you think that the yield of arUSD is probably going to decrease over time, it's a good way to secure a 25-ish APR.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. If you think the yield that will actually be inferior to what the fixed API gives you, then it's definitely a good opportunity to you to get that fixed rate.
Okay.
Or of course, if you actually want to just secure a fixed yield, on a stablecoin, basically. You know the stablecoin is going to remain stable. You know it's going to be worth $1, right? So you're more likely to be comfortable with going into something like that. No.
Yeah, 100%. It's very important to note indeed that when you the implied APY is computed compared to the underlying value. Meaning that, for example, if it's a stable coin, then at least you know in terms of dollar value what you will have, assuming no contract risk, and we have a risk documentation available. Of course, I invite everyone to do their own research and risk assessment. But if you use Spectra, for example, on one that will be linked to Bitcoin, for example, you'll be exposed to Bitcoin dollar variation, but you get a bit more of the underlying at the expiry.
Right.
That's the fixed rate time.
Yeah. It's probably a good time to remind our viewers that arUSD is perfectly pegged to the dollar at all time because it always redeemed for its value in ETH. That was the commercial time. Let's go back to our topic.
No, it's good to indeed point out like what the underlying token is, and that's what you need to check. Spectra, we don't assume anything. We check the rates of the assets. I mean, the protocol, of course, in terms of mechanism, you check the rates and it's split. And so, regardless of if the asset appreciates in value or not, this is the trade yield part. So I mentioned the liquidity one. I can show it quickly, maybe. So, like you just need to click on this. You see here the APY of the pool. You see also what you get, and I think the points are missing here. We'll add that.
That's correct.
and yeah, so you can add some liquidity there. There is like two modes. Basically, one mode where you keep the YT because basically you will tokenize into PTYT. The PT will be put in the pool. The YT will be left in your wallet, but the YTs are entitled to the yield that will be generated by the corresponding PT.
Yield endpoints, correct?
Yield endpoints, absolutely. I will go through the endpoints at the end. Okay. And so if you add with size, if you don't want to suffer price impact, basically you have to click this price impact mode because otherwise it will it's the same thing than selling the YTs back to the pool. So if you add with size, of course you can have seepage. Of course, all that is documented, and happy to help anyone with any question that they might have. And so this is sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, feel free to ask any question in the chat. There's a chat on YouTube, there's a chat on X, and we see all your questions and can answer them live. So feel free to ask any question you may have.
Actually, I don't see them, so please relay them.
Guys, I actually want to ask something maybe a bit basic. How does this what kind of maybe not what kind of how does this kind of strategy compare with so many of the other things that people can do in in this space? Like, what separates this strategy that we're presenting here in order to really maybe understand a bit better who's exactly our niche audience here? Who are the users that should be most excited about this new integration of arUSD? And I'm just trying to target the audience a little bit in my mind,
Yeah, it's a great question. So I guess here as I mentioned, with kind of those three tabs, you have kind of three categories of users. You have the one that will want to earn, that already know arUSD and that will want to earn extra yield on top of this. And so those will deposit arUSD on Spectra by providing liquidity there. They are entitled to additional incentives as soon as you have like a gauge and like trading fees, of course, that are from the swap that are operated in the AMM. So that's the first category of user. They already know arUSD. Those one, they know the value of the one that will want to have a fixed rate. They know the value of arUSD, and they want to secure a fixed rate. So they don't want to be exposed to the volatility of the API, and they're interested by what the fixed rates offer in terms of API, implied APY there. So I guess less here. You want to have a fixed income, some more predictable returns.
Yeah.
And the last one, last category of user are actually the one that maybe a bit more advanced in the sense that those are the one that will speculate on the variation of the interest rate. So here, the live ABT API is not showing up because the pool was created and the interest-bearing token itself was created less than 7 days ago, and we compute on the 7 days windows that will be fixed later. You can refer to their website to see basically what is the current APY of this asset. And basically what the yield trader will do is they will see what the implied future APY is. They will see what it was in the past and what it is currently, and they will try to predict, okay, what is going to be the yield of arUSD until the 18th of December of this year, like in between now and in 181 days. And what they will be able to buy is our YT, and each YT is will be capturing the yield of basically one arUSD in terms of value, but in arUSD. So it's not the yield of one arUSD; it's the yield of a quantity of arUSD that is equal to one underlying, meaning one arUSD. Sorry, not a R.
Yeah. Okay.
And so basically, you can see here, you can buy like with one arUSD, you can buy more than 8 YT. And so this can be interesting in the following situation. For example, the implied APY currently is 27%. So if you think the yield is going to go up, then instead of maybe depositing the asset because you're like, oh, it's not 27, it will be 40, so might as well, in 40 are interesting, might as well deposit the funds there. Buying the YT would be extremely interesting because you'll get leverage exposure directly to the yield. And the price that you're paying up front, the fixed price that you're paying up front is, in this case, it's also shown here, is 0.11 and some decimals arUSD per YT. So this can be very interesting. And it also is interesting because more than the native yield, this asset is also eligible to points. I think it was just pushed today, but you can go on the point page, and this is a more manual page. Of course, we have to put manually as points of more of a manual integration. We have to manually integrate it on the website as well. But you can see here like different points multiplier, and you see for arUSD, like the different points that you'll be able to collect. And so you can select the different options here. And basically by buying the YT, you definitely get a leverage exposure to the point, because if I take
did I will take 3x EtherFi points?
Sorry?
Yeah, are those numbers real?
Yeah, this is crazy.
arUSD, can you click again on it?
Yeah.
And 63x EtherFi points leverage. Can we just stop for a couple of seconds?
Yeah, let's just stay there for a second.
Yeah.
Let me take a screenshot.
Those are large numbers, fellas. Wow.
And of course, it's very interesting because in these points of narrative, what users are trying to do is give a price on this point. It's you have a yield in points. What is my yield? Like, how much is it worth? And you make your own calculation, and that's like in the market makes it on their own computation on this. But if you think that, for example, those points are basically equal to a yield that is higher than the one that is indicated by the implied future API, meaning by the market, by the those YT market price, then buying those directly gives you a leverage exposure to the potential upside. And in this point farming narrative, it can be quite powerful.
So I'm going to have a question here for the A team guys and the guys that are core contributors. Is there anywhere in DeFi where you can get 53x on EtherFi points? I'm just, do you guys know?
So. I don't think, I've not seen anything like that.
I have no idea.
That is, well, I mean, the 26x on FX points has me like salivating, and I'm like trying to like wrap my head around this.
For sure.
Yeah, I did not realize this was this powerful.
Can you explain a little bit better, Gaspard? Just again,
yeah,
why that's achievable?
Right. So imagine you get you get 1 point per 1 unit of underlying that you deposit in the protocol. Because I don't want to make all the calculation with this. I'll take a simple example. So let's say that 1 arUSD is giving you 1 point of something.
Yeah.
And now because of Spectra and the way we split the yield, it's the yield token that will get the point. But imagine now that 1 yield token is equal to, which is almost the same case here. Imagine that 1 yield token is equal to 1/10 of 1 unit. Then now, instead of generating 1x point with 1 unit of underlying, you can buy 10 YTs and then get a 10x leverage exposure on those points.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And so that's why we have those crazy numbers of like those are the initial multipliers, the multiplier that are given by arUSD. And here is a computation of so if you instead of depositing in the arUSD, you buy YT with those.
Yeah.
What's the multiplier exposure?
Okay.
That's why we get to those numbers.
So for my own, just for the left curve folks in the audience, just to break it down very simply, if you want exposure to these incredible points for these various protocols, for FX, for EtherFi, for EigenLayer, you would go and you would mint YT arUSD. Is that correct? Or
you don't need to mint the YT, you can buy it on the market.
Okay. Directly. Okay.
So the way you do that is you can start with the point page actually, and here you see this leverage, and you can just click and buy the YT, and then here you'll see like depositing, buying with 1 unit of underlying, you'll get 8.8 YT.
Okay, so you buy the YT and then you just hold it. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. You buy the YT and you just hold it. And when you hold the YT, you earn the yield that is associated to this asset. May it be native for 626 yield, in which case in your portfolio, this is connected to an account, so I'm not going to show, but in your portfolio, you'll see like a YT tab and you'll be able to claim the yield here when it's generated. It can be liquidity mining rewards in some cases. So that's a manual integration on our side, but some of our assets that are listed here are entitled to additional reward. For example, the Stego earn AV reward, and those periodically are redistributed as well to the YT holders. And last but not least, points as well are part of the multiple forms that can be a yield in DeFi. And those points, they are not shown directly on the UI today. The goal is to have this integration for each asset, but basically the underlying protocol, meaning FX protocol in this case, will redirect the points to the YT holders as well.
Wow. Okay, so sorry, Cyril, I'm just like absolutely fascinated by this now. Gaspard, you're doing a fantastic job of explaining this. I really just want to break it down.
My best.
Yeah, no, you're doing great, because I want to make this as simple and understandable for folks as possible. This is really my first time to kind of dive into it as well. So like the points page is really great because it does show for arUSD, basically with the integration of arUSD, all the possibilities really on the site for what you can do here. The PT arUSD, it's showing a 26.79% APY fixed yield. Are you earning are you earning more PT arUSD, or are you earning more arUSD, or is there a difference? Is it the same, or?
Yeah. So here, basically, arUSD.
Just say $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, arUSD is the underlying, and arUSD is the vote generating the yield.
Yeah.
And so one PT, the market is current market price in terms of arUSD. The PT is called PT arUSD, but the PT maturity value will be one arUSD. And you
Okay.
can always, when the redemption is available in the contract, you can redeem your PT against arUSD or arUSD, for example. But what is important is like what is this PT representing? And in this case, it's representing 1 unit of arUSD at expiry, and you can buy it at least at the moment for less than this. So that's why you have the fixed rate. So really, what you do is you take one arUSD, and you get more than one PT, and each PT will enable you to redeem an at expiry 1 arUSD.
So you're basically you're buying 1 arUSD at a discount.
Exactly.
And you can get that discount at maturity.
I see.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
You buy that at a discount, and it's at maturity that you redeem. So at this maturity, you realize this profit. And of course, I didn't mention it, but both of those two assets that we are generating, the PTs and the YTs, you can trade them back in the pool. Meaning that if you have PTs, but you don't want to wait because you change your mind, you don't want to wait for the maturity, you can sell them back in the pool. Maybe the price would have changed at this moment. It's not sure that it will be a higher price, even if the PT, as the closer we go to expiry, so the shorter the time is that you will have to wait until being able to redeem the underlying, the less the discount is supposed to be, because of course, if you can make an instant profit, then someone would arbitrage it. So it's of course related to the expiry that you have. That's also how we compute the implied APYs.
So Gaspard, on the returns on this YT arUSD, those will fluctuate over the time that the duration of that yield token. They could go up, they could go down. It's very variable. Does if a bunch of users were to run in and buy a bunch of yield token arUSD, does that affect the yield itself, or is that completely independent?
So if more users come and buy PTs or YT, this will change the price of PTs and YT, but this will not change the yield that you earn as a YT holder.
Okay.
Same for the PT. Imagine that now you secure this fixed APY, regardless of what will be of what is the price of the PT. You already bought your PT, so you know what is the underlying value that you'll have at maturity, but the price is not relevant for you anymore. But yes, so this price can fluctuate, and we had that on other pool actually, because we were talking about arUSD, and this is generating points. Points are very much a speculative nature, and so markets and opinion can change on what is the value of the point. Well, how is going to be evaluated the FX point and that kind of thing. And so this is going to change, but by holding the PT, you will always being able to redeem at maturity what is shown here. So I have to put a little disclaimer. For assets that are generating negative interest rates, that will not be the case, and that will be shown on the UI, but it's not the case here. And for the YT holder, well, same thing. If you hold the YT, then you're entitled to the yield equivalent of 1 arUSD in terms of underlying value.
I see. So if the yield stays the same, then the numbers that we're seeing on the screen will for the YT will stay the same, but the price may differ as well based on the.
Yeah. So basically, here on those two columns, you will. So here on those two columns, the live IBT that will be shown, I think in 3 days, because I think it was deployed 4 days ago. It's a live yield. It's really what the platform is the underlying IBT is currently generating. So this is evolving every day, as we see on all DeFi protocols basically. This one will evolve with the trade that are done on Spectra, the trade between the PTs and the YT basically, and of course the price that you secure, the price at which you bought your assets. That's basically the implied APY that you secured, and that's the market cannot change it. Because you already bought your YTs or you already bought your PTs, and if you have a YT, you will earn that yield regardless of how many other YTs there are.
So there's basically arbitrage to do between the actual yield and the YT price, but it's obviously more difficult to do when there's points involved because you don't exactly know what's the points values. But with FX points, the points value are directly related to the protocol's growth. So you know what to do if you want to pump the YT. You just grow the protocol. And
yeah, I don't think people understand that. I don't think people fully appreciate that. I mean,
yeah, probably. I've made a pretty nice article a couple of days ago about it, but I think I try to share it, make an X article to see if it reaches more people. But anyway, and there, I wonder also if because arUSD's yield is made from EtherFi ETH
and FXN
and FXN emissions. But FXN emission can be directed by CVX and VEFXN. And I wonder if like big CVX whales or VEFXN whales could have an impact on the YT price by directing, like they could they like buy the YT and then direct massive emissions to the pool to pump the
huge
yield?
voting power. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, you know, I actually know of a CVX whale, and that whale is called Clever. And
oh yeah, that's right.
Clever can be bribed. So FYI.
Yeah, so a bribe there would send a nice chunk of emissions to any pool. That's crazy.
Yeah, speaking of like emissions, I noticed like you guys have all these pools on there, Gaspard, and you guys, I was kind of cruising through the website earlier as well. You guys have a VE tokenomics as well. Does that factor in as well? Like, there's some emissions that go towards pools. Is there revenue sharing? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So we do have a VE model from back in the AP1 days. The token is still and will remain APW for now. It's you have a max lock of 2 years. It works the same way than VCRV work. You can vote to add a gauge, to create a gauge on one of those pools, and once it is added, you can redirect emission there. We also have bribes that are coming up very soon. So basically, you'll be able to bribe the APW voter to redirect APW incentives on different liquidity pools. So basically, we want to be the liquidity marketplace for yield tokenization. For the revenue sharing part, we have fees implemented in the code, but we voted with governance that we will not activate it at the very beginning. That's something where we want to spark the discussion with the community, and once the protocol have enough initial TVL, I guess that would be something that could make a lot of sense. And it was initially mentioned that it could also make sense to redirect those part of those fee that the protocol earns to also voters that are voting on the pool, boosting the emissions there. So that's we have the code ready for it and deploy it as it is now. Just no fee activated until governance vote, and for now we decided that at the very meaning the governance decided that at the very beginning there will be no fee on the pools, but that's expected to come up, and we want to have a the APW holder being able to really decide what's best for the protocol and what makes sense to boost in terms of reward, and also earn revenue bribes with this activity. They can also, this is an option that will be added on the UI, I guess probably by next week. This is already on the Gauge mechanism, but you can also vote to reduce emissions as well. So really, the VAPW holder have complete control over the emission and will earn revenue for this.
Okay, so I've heard like voters could get revenue, so it kind of rings the Velodrome bell. Is the supply finite or infinite?
APW was deployed with a finite supply, yes. The way the tokenomics are done currently is there is an important minted reserve that the DAO has and that can use for example, distribution of reward for those liquidity pools. And there was like a governance post that was it's also linked in the docs, but basically showing up anticipating emissions, and so it's not really emission in the term minting at the moment. It's the term of distribution because it's already minted and there's a reserve. But yes, otherwise we definitely took inspiration on Velodrome for this, and actually part of the contract taken for the governance are from Velodrome directly.
Okay, and how long is the locking, the maximal duration?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Okay. Similar to Velodrome, if I recall. Yeah, I think it's 2 years too. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Wow.
We actually went on the very early protocol to adopt this model after Curve, of course. But we, given the EPW that was deployed early 2021. Yeah, so it's still the same contract. Okay.
Okay, I still have APW from that time. even probably locked as well.
Yeah, and I believe Stake DAO as well has a liquid locker for
one. Yes, 100%. Yeah, you have you can use the Stake DAO and the liquid locker. I think they're going to integrate Gauges very soon. You can already vote on the proposal now, so you can vote on the Gauge creation, but you'll be able to vote on the Gauges directly. And if I recall correctly, it's actually it will cost no fee compared to like voting on mainnet. That's actually a bit more expensive. We're discussing with a few protocols that might be building convex like thing on top of the VAPW. We are working on a proposal to activate Boost, so incentive Boost, similar mechanism than Curve. It's just not live yet, but we're working on a proposal to, I guess by next week, that we should post on the forum.
CryptoVestor, did it sound like an alpha?
It did. It did. And I'm just looking at what Robo Odin is saying. You know, if Stake DAO, if that's part of the process, I think even CVG could easily boost it, just like they boost VEFXN. No.
Yeah,
definitely.
I actually just pulled up their page, and Stake DAO has 1.43 million VEAPW locked up. So they have like 40% of the total supply. So Stake DAO is a big player, sort of there, but very exciting.
Not 40% of the supply. The total supply is 50.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just looking at what's on their page here, but they have 1.43 million. So very interesting. Very interesting.
I'm blown away. This is crazy.
The cake has many layers, huh? It's a layered cake.
Guys, just the Eigen layer and FX points that can be achieved here with the YT arUSD is, I don't think people understand that. It's just way beyond the normal yield. People are gonna figure it out. It's gonna happen.
How long is this whole thing gonna last, guys? By the way, I mean, we can't have the points forever, right? At some point we have to have the points sent out somewhere.
Yeah, we don't know that because they have different.
I think it's years away. By the way, I actually think it's far away. I think that it's part of the whole point of how it's marketed, by the way.
Yeah, I guess that's a question that we have a lot because for sure yield tokenization blew up with Pendle and the point narrative since December of last year. And so a question that we have often is, but what about points? Are they going to last? what is next after EigenLayer, and well, we actually deployed today the first symbiotic pool. So for the first we're going to launch them later today, but for the very first time, you can trade symbiotic points actually. And I guess that's kind of a model that was widely adopted, not just for LRTs. We're staying neutral on this. We actually have pools that don't have any points, and the protocol was designed to have pools natively that don't have any points, like regular for 626, almost easier to integrate, I might add. I guess I think it's important to trading yield and being able to have a market for yield was really the first primitive that we wanted to push. And the thing is, what is yield in DeFi is a question where the answer evolved a bit across the year. In 2020 was many liquidity mining rewards. After that, it was RWA yield during the bear market, that kind of stuff. And today it is points, like future valuation of project, basically. The goal is to have a protocol that is very flexible and very permissionless, so that we can accommodate those yield type and even build a cool strategy combining all those in a way. And I think very, very interested to see how the market will price arUSD yield as well.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe it's a good time to wrap up and maybe summarize quickly what we've been talking about for those who joined us. We're 834 viewers at the moment. So thank you very much for watching us. So we've been discussing the integration of arUSD to Spectra. So arUSD is a yield-bearing stablecoin which is based on arUSD. arUSD is one of FX perfectly pegged USD pegged stablecoin, which is decentralized and backed by EtherFi ETH, and you can stake it and earn not only real yield but also FX and emissions plus points with a multiple, because you get up to 6x EtherFi points, 2x EigenLayer points, and 3x FX points. And we tokenized it into arUSD, which is yield bearing. So you can just hold it. It's kind of a set and forget strategy. You don't have to compound your rewards. It will be compounded automatically into more arUSD. And you can bring it to Spectra to either fix your yield, get a fixed yield to the maturity, which is on the 18th of December, if I recall. You can trade your yield and you can LP as well, and you can buy only the yield if you want to speculate on it and get that crazy multiple. Can you share the screen again, maybe just to show it one last time, because that's something you want. So to get that crazy 53x on EtherFi points, that's
nuts.
Thing. Yeah.
And
so I think I've summarized.
Probably say, we're speculating on EigenLayer and EtherFi, but we know what FX points get, which is the FXN token itself. So there's something there. It's just that once people discover that, it's going to be a lights out moment, I think.
I'm already scheming of ways.
I know you're thinking, K-Mets. I know you're already.
I'm like, how can we manipulate Clever through some whitelisted bribing to amp this up even more? Oh, this is so great, goodness. Man. Gaspard, man, you did a fantastic job coming on today and explaining Spectra, how arUSD is integrated into it. I'm excited to learn more about it and ape into this. So we really appreciate you taking time out and joining us today.
Yeah, that was a pleasure.
Thanks so much for the invitation. Nice talking with you guys.
Yeah, it's
happy to answer any question and build a very cool strategy together.
Yeah, I might reach out to you because I might have some questions, because this is something I might be interested in.
Yeah. When he says he might, I'm kind of sure that he's already messaged you.
You're gonna get it in like 5 minutes.
And by the way, that square with the 53 and 26x, that should have been the thumbnail, just guys. Next time we can do an easier job for the editor and tell him just, okay, we have a thumbnail for this one. No worries, you can.
He's right. You're right about that. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here with us tonight. It's been a pleasure, like always. Thank you, Kenneth, for that amazing introduction, and it was a pleasure to have you. In a long time, I hadn't shared a space with you, so it's always a pleasure.
Absolutely, sir. My pleasure. Excited to join and excited to dive more into Spectra arUSD. Everybody, we appreciate you jumping on and hanging out with us for an hour. So enjoy the rest of your days, and we look forward to seeing you in the Aladdin Discord. Have a good one, everybody.
Take care. Have a good
Bye.
night.
See you guys.